Yo, YouTube, it's your boy Black Market. I wanted to do a quick review on the cannabis sector and talk about a stock. I had a request to do a review, so I wanted to do a quick review on SNDL, but I wanted to go over the cannabis sector first. So this is MJ, so the ETF for the cannabis sector. So I'm looking at the daily. Actually, let's go to the weekly. So if we look at the weekly, you can see right now the sector's in a squeeze, and we've got downward selling pressure. So essentially, sectors went up. It's kind of sitting right at that midpoint level. So really, if we were to scroll out on the weekly, it doesn't look super strong, and it's kind of sloppy right now. There's really no definite direction to the sector on the weekly chart. If we go to the daily, you can see here we had a high of 34.58. The daily looks a little bit better than the weekly. As you can see, we've got selling pressure that's coming in, and then that dried up, and then right now it looks as if we've got some buying pressure that's coming in on the daily chart of the sector. So let's look at SNDL, sundial growers. So let's go to the weekly first. So if we look at the weekly, you can see here, and we'll just go out. Hold on just a minute here. My screen may be messed up a little bit. Okay. So you can see here on the weekly, sundial had a low of 14 cents, and right now we're around $1. Tons of selling pressure has came in lately on that weekly chart. You can see it fired to the downside, and right now we're in a squeeze, but we've still had a decent amount of selling pressure coming in, so we're right below that midpoint on the weekly chart. If we go to the daily, so really if you look at the weekly before I go to the daily, you really want to get a close above that midpoint, so at $1.10, until you can start seeing that move up to $1.76, and then on the highs. The other thing you want to look at too is if you look at this black line here is a 5 MA, and then this orange line is a 10 MA. So you can see if we go back here in looks like November timeframe, you can see where that 5 MA crossed above that 10, and then it crossed above the midpoint, and it kind of sat there for a bit, and then it obviously went up there in February when the marijuana market, the cannabis market was nuts. But you actually could have had an entry point right here around 41 cents, and then you could have just held that and then sold if it went back below the midpoint here. So you can kind of look at doing the same thing. If this 5 MA starts to cross that 10 MA, that's a bullish signal, and then if it stays above that midpoint, you can look to enter, where I like to enter a lot of my stocks at that midpoint. So you can look to enter here, and then your exit would be if it closes back below here in the weekly, or based off the stock's ATR or the all-time high, you can ride it up to that $4 range. So if we look at the daily, we can get down in the weeds a little bit more. So you can see here on the daily where we had selling pressure drying up on the yellow, right? And then we had a 1-day squeeze essentially. So you could have entered here around that 1-day squeeze, and then you'd be up about 20 cents or so on the stock. Right now, if you're trading off the daily, I'd probably be looking for a pullback either to the 5 or to that top Bollinger Band before I actually enter enter in. I mean, really, you know, if we're drawing some lines in here, you're looking at maybe the top of that red candle would be the resistance level, and then if we work our way back, you're probably looking at, you know, another resistance level up here, maybe at $1.77. If we're looking across, you can see here where we got a candle there, here, and then we got a resistance level, so around $1.77 or so. If we're looking back, so that's kind of my review of sundial growers. Like I said, if you're working off the daily chart, I'd probably be looking at a pullback to that top Bollinger Band or that 5 MA. And then if you're looking at the weekly, if you want to trade it off the weekly, I would wait for a close above that midpoint at $1.10, and I look to enter in around $1.10 for my entry. But once again, you want to look to enter on the close, right? Not an active candle if you're looking for an entry there. The other thing you can look at is on the daily chart here. You could have entered right above that midpoint, so you kind of missed that, or right above that 21, so you kind of missed that. Or here's a key entry point as well. You could look to enter right at the 21, where it's right at the 21 right now on the weekly. So this could be an entry level or an entry point for you right here on the weekly chart. So that is that's my review on sundial growers. You know what to do. Hit me up. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. You guys have a good rest of the trading week. Talk with you later.